Hi, everybody. Welcome back to episode 35 of the Quick Resume podcast. Today we have the winners of the Game Awards, all of them to talk about. We have our own impressions of Halo, as promised last week, and we have a few other bits and bobs as well. Thanks for coming. Lovely. Skull, everybody. Thanks for being here with us today on this wonderful day. Skull.
Isn't that drink? Doesn't that mean drink?
I thought it was like high.
I thought skull meant drink. That's why everyone drinks it. Everyone drinks it. Everyone's like shouting it in Assassin's Creed Valhalla like, all the time.
Yeah.
While drinking.
Skull, everyone.
I don't know why they'd be shouting hello and downing pints.
Hello. Because I don't want you shout when you die. That's what I do. Well, I mean, hello. Welcome back, everybody. If you're new here, my name's Deck. Hi. Over there's Tim. This is truly... It's... I feel a bit weird, now that Halo is out. Because we've been talking about this for so long. And I finished it. I'm just like,
You have.
I felt like an empty void in my heart. And I just wanted to clarify, this is a spoiler-free episode. So we will talk about our campaign impressions, but we're not going to go into any spoilers. We've clarified where, like I said, I finished it, and we've spoken about where Tim's up to off camera. So don't worry about any of that. But yeah, man. I mean, you've had quite the journey this week.
I got sick. I always get sick. We were saying this last episode as well because I was feeling a bit. My body was giving me signs. I always get sick on my time off. Yeah, literally because we recorded Wednesday, didn't we? And yeah, I kind of had a bit of an early night with the boys. My body was feeling a bit weird, and I woke up the next day and couldn't move. And I just spent 22 hours in bed. Ate like a piece of toast in the dark, and that was my Thursday.
So sad.
Yeah, I literally just couldn't. I was feverish. I was hot and cold. It's so weird when you have those sort of symptoms though, because I was sweating in bed, and then an hour later I got up to go put pajamas, a t-shirt and trousers on, and then get back under my bed because I was shivering cold. And then I woke up again in sweat, and it's just what do you want from me? How am I supposed to sleep when one minute I'm freezing and 1 minute I'm sweating? But
did you feel spaced
luckily,
out?
I did. Yeah, I had those weird things because I was on a fair amount of drugs and stuff like that. The pharmaceutical kind, for anyone listening. And yeah, I had those weird things. I don't know when you're sick and you're on a lot of ibuprofen, paracetamol, that sort of thing. I have dreams that are just on loop and constantly repeat themselves, and I become self-aware of it, and it just makes me not be able to sleep. And I sleep in 30-minute intervals. It's so weird. And every time I close my eyes, the same thing happens. The same dream schematic, so to speak. And then I wake up, and then the same thing. And I wake up, and the same thing, and the same thing. And I just do that all night.
Like a death loop.
Yeah, I just get caught in some horrible dream loop, and then I'm convincing myself I need to not dream about the same thing so I can break the loop sort of thing, and then no, just can't. And it's solely because of it, because as soon as I got over it, I was just dreaming like normal again. I just went to sleep, and my mind felt so free and unlocked.
Wow,
felt almost like Halo Infinite's open world,
Nice. Wow. It's quite high praise. Yeah.
But yeah, so I got sick. So my Thursday was pretty much non-existent. I barely played the campaign on Wednesday because... Wait, no, it came out Wednesday at 6, didn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so I played it a bit, but I was feeling a bit dodged, so my head was kind of hurting. Thursday didn't play at all. Friday was still recovering, all that sort of thing. Basically, I've played a little bit of the campaign. I haven't played much. I haven't really been gaming that much since we last did the podcast. So yeah, that's basically been my little catch up. It sucked. basically. My last few days have sucked.
Yeah, I mean that does suck, but I mean we've gotten some good. You got some, at least you got some decent campaign time in. We got some good multiplayer time in. You know, got that
Yeah.
nice sniper skin. This one, have you? You haven't got that yet, have you?
No, thanks for rubbing it in though.
It's really cool.
Thanks, man.
It's like matte black and green. It's really cool. I saw some people online saying they didn't like the look of it, and I thought that was a bit weird because I think it looks pretty dank. But hey ho, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. Brilliant. Well, I mean, I guess it's probably a good place to just start with where we're at with the campaign. Really, I've got like a sneeze creeping up on me. I can feel it. It's like really.
It's all right, man.
Creeping up.
Stare at the lights. Stare at the lights. It helps.
Okay, we're good.
All right.
Nice. So I feel like that would be a good place to start because I have nothing really to report other than the fact I've just been smashing out Halo. I've been like collectible farming like afterwards as well. So hit me with it, man. I guess with where you told me you're at, I guess you're like maybe 5 or 6 hours in.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, probably about. I'd say probably about 4.
Yeah, okay.
About 4 hours. Yeah, I've done like maybe 2-3 main missions, and then a lot of side stuff, just in the sort of open world. And yeah, I mean, my overall opinion of it is very positive so far. I'm currently playing it because I recently upgraded my TV and I have the option to now play it at 120 hertz if I wanted to, 120 frames. I've decided that I want to play the campaign at 4K 60, and then I'm just going to do multiplayer at 120 frames because I feel like the benefit. I don't really care about the textures and the detail that much in multiplayer as much as I do something like campaign, and it is quite pretty. The campaign. Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing it at 4K 60. Yeah, visually very, very nice. I do like it a lot. So far I haven't had any of the whole environmental drought that we were talking about. I actually think it's quite well versed at the moment.
I agree.
Like with the sort of ship you start on, and then you're on the ring, and then you're basically going to other places. I don't want to spoil it too much, but I've actually kind of been dancing between biomes quite nicely. I imagine it just starts to get a little bit much when the game opens up quite a lot, and there's just like your map's just full of shit just to check off, and then you end up you're just on the ring for ages, right? Just seeing the same trees and grass. But so far I haven't had that issue. And yeah, the storytelling's great. From what I've experienced so far. I think the writing's really good. I think the voice acting is brilliant. I actually really like the new AI. Whoever actually voiced her, I can't remember. They have name dropped her so many times.
Yeah, it's Jen Taylor. It's the same voice actress as Cortana.
Oh, is it the same one? Okay.
And she does Dr. Halsey.
Oh wow, quite the range.
Yeah.
She's really good. She's like really upbeat and sort of bubbly at times and stuff like that, which I think kind of sort of brightens the mood a little bit, away from just tension and just Chief just saying one-liners every now and again.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think that's really good. And obviously I don't want to spoil the actual storytelling of the missions, but from what I've experienced, the dialogue is good, and the setup so far is pretty strong. And then obviously we've talked about all the sandbox stuff and gameplay. That's obviously brilliant. We kind of knew that going in, that would be really good. So I'm really enjoying that. Although I do think the surplus in fusion coils is ridiculous. Like, they want you to have a fusion coil in your hand at every fucking possible corner turn.
It just never gets old, though. It never gets old.
I know, but like, I've thrown so many. They're just everywhere. It's just like, there shouldn't be this many. Like, why does everywhere just have like 30 explosives lying around, like every box?
I mean, they're
Like
like
that's
power cores, right? I think.
well, no, because you have fucking power seeds to do that sort of stuff
In the Forerunners bases, yeah.
in the Forerunner bases, but I don't know. But yeah, there's just loads, and I feel like it's just there. Then just being like, this is fun to do it, and like it's really funny because when I throw grenades at people, they dodge it every time perfectly, like amazing commando roll.
Yeah.
But then I have a fusion coil in my hand, I lob it, they just fucking stand there and take it to the face. It's almost like they're coded to be like, just get hit by fusion coils to make them feel cool.
You throw them so fast though, but you
Yeah.
fucking lob them.
Yeah, but so do you with the spike grenades. The spike grenades are basically throwing knives. You fucking launch them. They're like javelins. If anything, I'd say they go faster, and the enemies juke it every time. But yeah, it is really fun, and I'm really enjoying it. Is basically the overall summary.
Yeah.
And I wish I could have played more. And yeah, the open world's great. It kind of opens up to you quite quickly, which I think is quite nice, but it doesn't overwhelm you immediately, which a lot of games can do. Like I know Assassin's Creed and stuff like that. It can just be too much too quickly. But this one, it's kind of just like gives you like a few things, and then you do like one of those things on your way to the next campaign mission. They don't put it like outside of your reach so much. And then doing that explains more, and they kind of just drip feed it to you until you unlock quite a lot of stuff to just go through, which I think is quite a nice way of doing it.
It's nice. It's nice and condensed. I found like the open world is not. I mean, it is open, but it's like a condensed open world, and I kind of really appreciated that. Like, I didn't need because as much as there are vehicles, you have your fobs and your grappling hook to help traverse, and that all feels good and fun and whatever. I don't need to be driving around for like 5 minutes at a time, and I just found like there's always I don't go like more than a minute without finding something to do or being right next to a new collectible or a Spartan core or cosmetic or whatever it is. And I really appreciate that because the strength of the game is definitely its combat, and it's nice like going into these different encounters all the time. And I just feel like the open world is really polished in terms of its design. And I with what you were saying earlier about when we spoke about it previously, and a lot of other people have criticised sort of the that it's just a single biome. As much as I would have liked to have seen other biomes, but honestly, I didn't really find myself getting fatigued of it because I feel like because the world was condensed and like it doesn't overstay its welcome. Like there's just a lot of variety within that. Like there's so much verticality. Like it's like, for example, if I think about Assassin's Creed, right? Valhalla, I actually really liked. And you go up to the top of the towers and you see the whole landscape. It looks beautiful. It's all flat. It's all flat. Like there's some mountains here and there that like go up a bit, but it's nothing like this where it's like there's giant drops and there's like splits into space and stuff like that. It's like so. As much as there are different biomes in Valhalla, it's less variety, but it's more condensed and varied in terms of other bits and bobs. So, yeah, I didn't find myself getting sort of fatigued of that, which I thought was good. Yeah, and I guess the other part was if we just sort of go back and forth on a couple of the elements of it, like you obviously spoke about the combat as well. It's nice. It's really, I know it sounds silly, but it's really nice that it just feels like I'm playing multiplayer, but against jackals and brutes and elites and grunts. Because it just feels good, and everything I learned in the multiplayer just carries over. I'm like bag shotting jackals. They're like, "What the fuck are you doing, Spartan?" Yeah, like shooting their toes. And I mean, have you like what equipment have you found so far? If it's not
Well, yeah, I mean, if I do name the equipment, I
It's
got
not
a
a
piece of
spoiler.
equipment. Is it not?
No,
Oh, okay, I guess
it's
not.
known.
I've got I just recently got the radar pulse, which I haven't used yet because why? I
Why?
just shoot stuff and grapple everywhere. Um, so yeah, and I basically just put my points into everything grapple so far. And I've just got the cooldown reduced by like 40%, which is going to be really really fun to just keep using it more and more. But yeah, I mean, one thing like you actually said with the whole like it feels like multiplayer is like even a lot of the like TTK is like the same as like if you were to kill a Spartan in multiplayer as well. It's like the Stalker rifle is like 3 shots to the elite with a headshot to finish sort of thing. You can body twice and headshot and he dies. Just like you can 3 shot someone in multiplayer. So it does feel quite similar, and it doesn't feel too jarring just to jump into it.
Yeah.
And it's also quite nice. There's always just so many weapons to always just rotate your arsenal. Like everywhere you go, there are racks of weapons, and obviously enemies all carry loads of different weapons too. So yeah, I found myself picking up all kinds of stuff and just using it in the situation, like constantly.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. Yeah, it's not just you're not just running around with a BR or an AR or a pistol. You're constantly rotating guns because I mean there's a lot of points to refill ammo and stuff like that, but when you're just jumping from enemy to enemy or camp to camp and stuff like that, sometimes you don't look out for these things. And I personally prefer it to just scavenge like whatever you find and just make use of that in the situation rather than looking for like a kinetic ammo refill point.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, no, I'd actually rather just
I think
that sort of stuff.
the ammos in the guns was balanced really well. Like you have enough to get mostly through a fight, but you'll need to pick something up at some other point. To like keep going. And like you said, there are times where I've been like forced to pick up a plasma pistol and work with that. Grapple it across the map and use it. I'm like like single firing it on like an elite. This is all I have to work with. And that's part of that sort of emergent sandbox. And it reminds me a bit of the, I know people have made the comparison to Breath of the Wild a bit, but it reminds me a bit of the whole, weapon degradation.
A little bit, yeah.
In that sense, but you're forced to pick up new stuff. Except there's obviously no inventory system or anything like that. So it's just that loop of like use what you've got, find something on the floor, pick it back up, and obviously there's just a lot of nice little touches in there. Like for example, gun like equipment and guns will be missing ammo based on how much enemy shot you.
I've
like nice touches
that.
like that makes it feel quite alive. Yeah, because there are times where I've like found myself like really rushing down a brute with a rocket launcher because I'm like, I know that's only going to have 4 shots. I want as many shots as I can get. Things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, while we talk about the gameplay as well, I guess we should touch on. I'm playing it on heroic. I think you did as well. It's quite tough. It's actually pretty tough. I've died probably like 10 times already. It is quite tough, especially when you run into like enemy encounters that have those shitty sniper jackals with like stalker rifles at the top. My God, they can just melt you.
Well, they're like famous, aren't they?
Yeah, but my God, it's just they're so good, and sometimes they just rapid fire you. Sometimes I'm like full HP, and he just clicks the trigger 3 times, and I'm dead. And I'm like, well, okay, that guy the AI just decided I was dead there, and I couldn't avoid it.
Control.
But it's cool because then I die, and I'm like, okay, well now I'm just. There was a part on the bridge. There was like a bridge, and there were loads. There were like a couple sitting on some rocks and one in a tower. And because I died to them a couple times, I was like, well, okay, well, this time I'm literally just going to take a right, jump off the bridge. I'm going to grapple my way up the rock, fling myself up into the tower, take him out, and then just shoot down on the enemy, sort of thing. I approached it in a different way because the difficulty made me do that, which I think is quite good. Rather than just walking through like a one-man army, which I guess is what Chief is, but like I don't know. It just becomes very one-dimensional if every encounter is just click on heads, like. So I actually quite appreciated the difficulty, and I think Legendary is going to be insanely hard, which would be quite fun, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There is like a nice like refreshing element to like not just walking through the same encounter in the same way, because there are times like that in games, like especially linear games, where you just feel like you're smacking your head against the wall, and the same thing just happens over and over again. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You die. Checkpoints are mostly really good. I thought the checkpoint system was. I didn't once get frustrated by being a checkpoint too far back, or I thought they were fairly generous, which is probably the way to do it. Yeah, and you can just approach it completely differently, whether that's just through a different entrance or grappling to another side of it, or hopping a vehicle, getting some marines from the side, whatever it is. Yeah, those combat encounters are just so good. They're just so good. And like even just towards the end, shit was still happening that I like hadn't seen happen before. It was weird. Whether that's like grunt dialogue or a brute tossed a barrel at me.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I was like aiming at him down my sights, and he just like does this little underarm fling, and I caught it. I was just like, can I? And I was like, I saw it coming. I was just like, if I just hold X, I know you can do this in multiplayer, and I just fucking caught it and belted it back at him. It was sick. I got a clip of it actually. Although
yeah, I was about to say I've never seen them throw. So
yeah, so I don't know if it's just rare or if it is just designed to be like infrequent, because I imagine it's something that would like one bang you sort of thing. I haven't seen any grunts be thrown like they showed in the trailer, like whatever it was last year.
Oh yeah,
but I have seen a clip of it happening on Reddit, so it does happen. So again, it might just be, and it's the same animation from what I've seen. Like grunts will pull out two plasmas and runs up behind him and flings him with a little underarm. But yeah, maybe it has happened, but I just haven't seen it, sort of thing. Maybe that's why I've exploded randomly sometimes. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I just find there's a lot of like richness in that sort of sandbox and in that combat loop, and I think that only gets enhanced by the equipment and the real standouts. I think the real thing that Halo has managed to do is nail the boss fights. I mean, we spoke about that with the reviews last week, and the high value targets, and I think far and away they were the most enjoyable parts of the game for me. They were just so fun that you kind of rock up to this area, and you just can take it on however you like, and then you get rewarded with and they're challenging as well, and then you get rewarded, and they're different, like different personalities, different guns, different strategies required, and then you get rewarded with this really cool weapon variant that gets plopped back in your base, and you get to sort of try that and take that out with you as well. I just found that really, really rewarding. Have you done any of the HVTs yet?
I have, yeah. I did one with I think I just did the first one that they give you right as the map kind of opens up. And it was against like an energy sword, like elite boy who had a name and stuff like that. And I did it like a really old fashioned way, because I saw him early and I was like, oh, this guy's got an energy sword, and I was like, this is gonna be cool. I was just like, I'm just gonna clear out the entire camp, which is what I did. I just cleared out everything, and then I got an energy sword, and basically just had like a 1v1 like duel with him like right at the end, and kicked his ass, and then got the new weapon variant. But yeah, I decided to approach it sort of gladiator style.
Yeah,
have a little 1v1 with him.
He was invisible, so I think I was the right one.
Yeah, he was invisible. Yeah. I kind of cheesed him, to be fair. I kind of threw a shock nade at him and got a cheeky hit in, and then the fight really began. But yeah, they are really good fun. And I agree. I think even the story missions and stuff like that, the boss fights in there have been really fun as well. They're all done in like unique areas, with surroundings that you use to help you win the boss fight, or you can just shoot him but click on his head. Kind of up to you. But the choice is the players, which I think is like sort of the main vibe they're going for in this whole campaign open world thing. Is the tools are there, you can make it as fun and creative as you want, or you can play it like an old school Halo shooter. You can really just approach it however you want, which is quite cool. I do quite like that sort of freedom. I mean, it's not completely limitless, obviously, but yeah, no, I have enjoyed the boss fights quite a lot. Which, us being Destiny 2 players, um, it's it's quite hard to nail a boss fight for a shooter. Destiny, aside from their raids, like strike bosses and stuff like that, the majority of them are just bullet sponges, boring, like shoot,
health
and if you get
gating.
close, health gating. That you get close to them, they have this one-shot move where they just slam. It's like an AOE. Every single boss has an AOE slam that just one-shots you, so you can't approach him. It's like, oh, I'll try to take out this guy from up close and not shoot him from a distance. Let's try something different. No, they all one-shot you. It kind of just forces you to shoot them, basically.
Yeah.
That's what the game wants you to do. So, yeah, it can be quite hard to do. So they have done it pretty well from what I've played so far.
Yeah, it's a real accomplishment to sort of have those first-person bosses not feel like bullet sponges, because I think the trade-off, like, because there were some bosses, because I think there's like 15 in the game, the HV, like the non-story ones, like the how you times you find on the map. There are some I fucking deleted. Like, there are some that I came in, like, on the way there, a banshee started attacking me, disrupted him out of the air, grapple jacked him, flew there, fucking splattered him for half health, hopped out, and just pumped, like, shotgun into his face. Then obviously you have to finish off, like, the rest of the area to, like, fully, like, secure it. There are some I, like, absolutely deleted, and I just think that's the trade-off of, like, having these bosses not health gate and not be bullet sponges, is that you are going to have some that you, like, your strategy just absolutely obliterates them. And then there are some that I really struggle with as well. But, it all depends on how you approach it and how you took it. There were some, like, I would kill I would, like, try and main focus the boss, but because of, like, his, like, companions, he had a lot of, like, jackal snipers. So, like, as soon as I killed him, they all just, like, looked at me and, like, lasers just, like, went across me. And I was like, oh, no. I'm about to get beamed. It's just things like that. So I think that was one of the, like, I really enjoyed that part of the game. And, like, I was going to say that the guy you killed at the beginning, the guy with the sword, that sword is actually a really good one to get, because it's, from what I can tell, it, like, makes you quicker when you're holding it and increases your jump height. Not only is it stronger, but you, like, slash quicker and you run around. So I like for, like, the first part of the game, I would, like, traverse the map just holding that, because, like, you can grapple slide and you get more distance and height and stuff. It's just really fun to use. Just I'd mention.
Oh, cool.
Because they don't tell.
I haven't actually equipped it.
Yeah, they don't tell you what it is, like what the variant is. You just kind of have to figure it out. So yeah, but yeah, I think those boss fights in the game are really good, just across the board. And I think they all have. You could strategize in loads of different ways and still find different ways to win and struggle. I think that's a real accomplishment. So you've pumped a couple of cores into the grapple, and you've just gotten the pulse, but you haven't really found yourself using it. And I think this is something I remember reading about in the reviews, which is definitely accurate. Moving between equipment sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
You really have to learn, which I did. You have to try and memorize where everyone is, especially when you get all of the equipment. I can tell you right now where they are on the D-pad. That's how, like, ingrained it became in my head. But it's still not easy to do, especially when you have, like, when you get later into the game and you have, like, the other equipment, like the thrust and the drop ball and everything. Because I put loads of points into the drop ball. I ended up maxing out. I mean, I've maxed everything out now, but, like, that was, I think, the first thing I maxed out. Like, frequently my strat would be to grapple and drop ball, so I'd, like, get to a good position and then put that down. Or if I saw jackal beams coming down, I'd do a quick 90-degree turn, slap that down so I was safe, and then continue fighting. And then, because it's quite powerful in campaign. So yeah, that was difficult. And I don't know. I wonder if they experimented with, like, a equipment wheel, with just, like, or maybe they felt that kind of ruins that kind of feel of the combat. Like, I don't know, because it works in something like Doom, and I don't know if it quite works the same in Halo. But I don't know
What the whole like slow down time and choose your equipment
Yeah,
or
just be
weapon
like
at
hold
the
right
time.
on the D-pad and then use a circle. Same with the grenades, because the grenade I have just as much problem with the grenades as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I imagine they probably did play around with it. Maybe they just didn't like the UI clutter. Maybe they just kind of wanted to keep the screen quite open and quite clean. They didn't want a big wheel popping up whenever you did that. And I think it's probably better and quicker, like you said, once you memorize and get used to it, than the way they do it in multiplayer and stuff like that. Because obviously, if you were to get grenades in multiplayer, you just tap left on the D-pad once and it flicks to the next grenade. So if it was like tap right on the D-pad to basically just cycle through all your equipment, that would technically be longer, wouldn't it, than you just pressing right up, than you pressing right, okay, drop ball, okay, right, thruster, right, it technically is quicker. It just you need to actually like memorize it and spend time on it and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I imagine they played around with quite a few options and they just landed on that being okay. It probably wasn't their ideal scenario. It was probably one of those things where like it's good enough and it's it's not the main part of the game. And then they just kind of shipped it like that. But yeah, I think a sort of Doom style wheel comes up, everything sort of slows down while you choose your grenade or choose your equipment, and then as you resume and select it, everything speeds back up and goes back to regular time. I think that would work quite well.
I think so too, and I think they're going to have to consider something like that as they move into, like if they do more expansions and add more equipment, because obviously obviously the repulsor wasn't there, which I've got to say I actually didn't miss as much as I thought I would, which. Because I remember
say that. I'm sure if there was a repulsor, it'd be so fucking fun. It's only because you just didn't have it, right? The repulsor would be really fucking awesome.
I didn't find myself going into every engagement like, oh man, I wish I had the repulsor here. It was because it struck me more as like a balancing issue. That's why it wasn't in, and I guess that was maybe kind of ringing in my head as well of like, would it really be that fun to just walk up to this base and just repulsor everybody off the edge? I don't know. I feel like that would wear thin.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
But maybe, if they find a way to work it in somehow, it would definitely be, because there are definitely times, like reflecting on it now, where I can think, it would have been wicked to reflect back a hunter ball or like a grenade or like a rocket, like for sure, like it has its place for sure. But I just didn't find myself like really yearning for it, like in a way that like I love using it in multiplayer, just because you had quite a lot of toys to play with anyway. But they'll have to think about how they do that differently as they add more equipment, if they add more equipment.
Yeah, because there's only so many button combinations you can actually press to reach a piece of equipment once it goes over a certain number. It's probably something they will implement later if they do expand on the story and add expansions and stuff like that. I agree, but for now it works. It's not perfect. I would agree. I haven't experienced that because obviously I don't have all of the equipment like you do. I'm not at end game. But I can definitely see it, and I can see why people have made a small complaint about it. Yeah, it is. I can imagine it being a bit of an issue.
Yeah, it's just a bit unfortunate because I think the game is like really at its best when you're flicking between, like in that moment in combat, you're flicking between it and making best use of it. Like there are loads of times where there's a nice upgrade for the radar where you get 2. And like you can get upgrades range and whatever stuff like that. So there were like loads of encounters where I'd essentially pop one on both sides. I'd run in, like do whatever damage I could, put up a shield to my side, and then if I got approached, I'd grapple round. And so it's good like to have all these things. I will say that the only equipment that I actually felt was properly useless was the thruster.
Oh really?
There were like 2 encounters where I genuinely thought thruster might be useful here. And I don't know if this is a thing, because from what I've heard, Legendary, the balancing of the equipment in Legendary is like spot on.
Okay.
And maybe it'd be more useful there. But like I just can't see why I would want to move 5 feet to the right rather than grapple. I mean, I appreciate grapple means I have to look that way, pull myself that way, and I'm locked down. Rather than.
I guess it
And
depends on the upgrade paths and stuff, because I know that Thruster has like an upgrade path where you go like invisible after you use it and stuff like that. So I can imagine that being pretty useful,
yeah,
especially in Legendary, to take down a big boy from behind.
and that was the last thing I got, and I definitely found that did give me some more breathing room when I did use it. So maybe, maybe just by the fact that I sort of spammed the drop wall first meant that I actually didn't really have much reliance on it. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I purposely I didn't find much use for it, but maybe someone else out there has. I think they will have a place, which is nice. But I just didn't personally find much use for it. So yeah, I guess I wanted to sort of come back a bit up to the story, really. I mean, I know there's only so much we can talk about here because of the spoilers, and obviously I don't want to spoil anything for you, and I'm not going to do that. But I really loved the story. I really liked it. Yeah. I mean, I think I think it does a good job of not constantly hammering you with new info, not constantly hammering you with dialogue, and that they keep that kind of the kind of stoicism that Chief kind of has, where he doesn't say much, but he's definitely more of a developed character in Infinite. It's kind of, it is 343's Infinite in that the point is they're trying to develop more of a character, but he's doesn't say much. It means a lot when he does say a lot, and a lot of the motion capture says a lot as well. And so I wanted to, because there's the guy who does the motion capture is different from the guy who does the voice. So Steve Downes does the voice, and it's Bruce Thomas who does the motion capture, and he's been doing it since Halo 4. And so I think a lot of that personality for Chief comes through in his movements, and from again, avoiding spoilers, the part that you told me about, that was fucking horrible. That first, there's 3 or 4 big emotional beats, I would say, in the game where it a real punch in the gut.
Yeah, I know the part you're talking about. Yeah, where literally just no words were exchanged.
And you're just
at least from him, all the other characters. Yeah. Exactly. I know exactly what you mean, and it kind of just hits home that this. What happened has affected Chief without him being vocal about it, right?
Yeah.
He shows it in his body language and stuff like that. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
And I think that's and that's something I'm really thankful for, because I've always said that I've wanted a more developed Chief. And I guess what I was expecting to see was more of a continuation of 4 and 5, where Chief did he never spoke that much, but he definitely spoke more, and I was expecting that. And so when I realized, through the game that wasn't the case, that he wasn't going to speak that much, I was at first a bit disappointed. But then when these big emotional beats came in, and I realized all of that storytelling was done through minimal wordplay and mostly the motion capture, it does a lot for me. And so like I said, I think there are 3 or 4 big beats through the game that really sort of punch you in the gut. And that the one that you described to me was really good. I felt anyway. So that there's a few more like that. Yeah. So I mean, because there's not too much I can get into here, but I wanted to talk about. There's something I know, because I've made a really long list of notes to speak about, so I've got it all lined up for when we do speak spoilers. But there's a really good use of color theory in this. Color theory, I didn't know anything about until I watched Breaking Bad. Being a media A-level student, I'm actually quite versed in this.
Oh yeah.
But the basic idea is to just use colors to represent different things, and on the color wheel you can use, if you have something or someone that are diametric opposites on the color wheel that it represents conflict or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So and I thought there was some really nice one here, but they just use color really well in this game, and it's the general art direction and the cinematography is so fucking good. Like the no cuts, it's so smooth. Like, and I think it's just such a perfect match for Halo. The way like the camera will often like swing out of the visor, it'll go around the weapon as she's speaking, then it'll come back, and you'll just get like a couple of seconds to see like Chief's like reaction. And then it'll come back into his visor. Just this sort of stuff that just gives you like a real nice. It makes it feel very intimate. Without feeling jarring or like you're watching like an action movie. It feels like you're living it all through Chief, which I just thought it worked out really well.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, I haven't played nearly as much as you, but yeah, I've definitely noticed. The camera work and stuff like that is nice. And it goes well with the music as well in the game, like the nice slow paced, like subtle music as those intimate moments are happening and he's talking or he's just like silently thinking and it's just like panning around him and stuff like that. It's all really good. It's all really, really good. I like it.
Music is god tier, but in terms of,
I mean, it always is in Halo, isn't it?
It always is, and you get a good taste of it just from sitting at the menu. But like a lot of it, there's a lot of like older stuff that they've kind of revamped, like to make it feel new. But they've also got their own new tracks in there, which are just bangers as well. Some of them, there are like genuinely some times where I've been like at a base or I've just been doing something, and some music will just swing in, and I'm like, let's go. And I'll just start like playing like a dumbass just because I like get so fueled, so like full of adrenaline. So there was that, and I thought, as I was like in terms of sort of like the lighting and a lot of the colors, just to like give a quick run through. So obviously red is kind of like a new color for the series. Red isn't really something that they any of the games have leaned into, being the Banished. And the weapon is blue. What happens when you put red and blue together? Purple.
America.
That too. The pilot is often when the pilot uses comms to Chief, his little his slot at the back lights up. So
green.
It'll light up green, or the weapons will be blue. And I thought that was really subtle but nice as well, because Chief's like his color is it's like a khaki, it's like a worn, chiseled, dried out green, whereas the pilot's was represented very much by like a bright green there. And then the other part of the pilot is, and it's not used much, but now and then the color yellow is around, and it's mostly, from what I could tell, it's mostly just represented by the color of the hologram that he uses in his little memory thing, and his eyes. And I noticed that was a change from when we first saw the trailers way back when. His eyes weren't as defined as they are now, but he's got like yellow eyes now. Yellow, color of cowardice. Or like fear, right?
Easy.
Yeah. Yellow and blue is green. So, I just thought that was like it's just a really like simple use of color to just like drive home a couple of like the themes and the points that evolve through the story, and I think it's what makes the imagery of the game, and it really like drives home the cinematography. Like I really thought it was like really, really, really good. Other than that, there's not much else I can speak about on these notes without going to spoiler territory, so I'll leave the plot stuff there. But I really enjoyed all of that. I've kind of gushed about it quite a lot but there were a couple of things that let me down. I mean, we spoke about the non-story stuff. We spoke about the like the swapping between equipment and grenades. The only other thing is like some technical aspects of the game are really weird.
Okay.
I know it happens in multiplayer, but wasn't expecting it to happen in campaign, where some animations are 30 frames, and I don't know why. Like sometimes
Oh,
you'll
okay.
mantle and you'll see Chief's hand and it's like half the frames and it's just kind of jarring. Or like the skewer reload, it's like you can tell it's half the frames, and I'm just like, why is that? I just find it just a little bit distracting. You know, it obviously doesn't kill the game or anything, but it's just a little bit distracting. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you noticed that?
I have experienced it with the mantle, not so much the skewer, but I don't think I've had the skewer in my hands that much. But yeah, it's quite interesting. And yeah, I did find it kind of weird as well. It kind of always made me take like a second glance and just be like, "What was that?
What was that?
Like, what just happened? You right, Chief?" But like, I wonder if that happens if you have it in performance mode. I wonder if you're running at like 120, if that drops to like a 60 frame animation, or if that just it all just is a perfect 120, and that only happens if you're buying 4K 60.
Yeah.
Like it'd be quite interesting to see if that carries over, depending if you're in performance or quality mode.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know like Digital Foundry have done like a full breakdown of this, but I haven't really watched it. But I know that they, judging by other people's comments, that they found like a couple of like oddities as well. Like generally, it feels very, very good. Like for most of the gaming experience, there's like no hiccups, no bugs, no crashes. It's very polished, like in terms of like on the bug front. But there are a couple of like technical inconsistencies like that, which like that confused me a bit. And I found that there's still been some like quite bad pop in every now and then, especially
Yeah, I've noticed popping.
especially if you're moving fast. Like you'll notice like trees just fling up, and it's like I kind of feel like my Series X should be able to have them pre-rendered.
I even noticed it on the right at the beginning when you're flying out to your first you're flying out to go get your first base. You've just captured you've just come out in the ring and you've captured that first point, so your pilot guy can land. It's like right at the beginning of the game, you clear the landing zone for him, and then you hop in to go take your first base where it introduces like the open world to you, and then you fly off with the doors open. I actually noticed like popping like as you were flying, like stuff was like popping in, and that was like it trying to be cinematic and show you the world as well. And I was like, there really shouldn't be popping here, guys. I was like, you're trying to be cinematic here, and I'm seeing popping. Like, that's pretty bad.
Well, so all the cutscenes are in game. None of them are pre-rendered. I don't think.
No,
but no, I know what you
still.
mean. It's like catered, so like probably.
Yeah, exactly. It's made there for that moment, and I was seeing stuff like flicker, and I was like, okay, still looks great. Don't get me wrong, but like, yeah, maybe not so much. And yeah, and we both agree it's a really pretty game, but we all know and that the hardware is capable of running a game much more powerful than this. So, I would expect I'd expect these things to be kind of not there for a Series X, but still learning the ropes of the hardware, I guess.
It's just hard to make the comparison because I don't know. Because obviously, like I've played, like I'll come back to it again. Like Assassin's Creed Valhalla runs at 60, with some drops here and there. Whereas I don't think Halo drops at all. So I guess that's maybe the pros and cons side of it. But like all of those environments were beautiful, and I can't remember seeing much popping if there was any, or if there was popping, it was done really well. Because some games use like a nice like transition, so it like fuzzes in instead of just like, oh, there's a tree there now.
Exactly.
Like Breath of the Wild does that quite well because there's loads of popping on that game because it's on the Switch, but they generally are quite good at masking it. Whereas I think because like the whole canvas, like the draw distance is huge, like you can see the whole ring and it looks great, but then it's just like there's things. I guess they have to decide which things pop in and which things don't. And trees is one of them, and that's like the big thing that's like it really sticks out. When you're moving around. But again, I don't think it took away from like it didn't take away too much from like the actual like how the vistas looked. I still think it looks really nice, but I think generally the design of the ring for like combat encounters and the art direction kind of carries it. I would say, because it's as much as nice as it looks, it's obviously it's not mind blowing. It's a cross gen game. It looks very nice. It's crispy, plays really well at 60 frames. But those two things definitely carry it, and throughout, I would say.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. I mean, I don't think I had anything else to touch on there. Did you have anything else you wanted to touch on from what you've played so far, or any other impressions or anything?
No, not really. No, I pretty much talked about my overall experience with it so far. And I think from both of us, it's pretty overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get for someone who's actually completed the campaign and maxed out his skills. Let's get a user score from you.
Okay.
Go on.
I give it a 9.
A 9?
Yeah, I give
Yeah.
it a 9.
Okay.
There's like a couple of there's just a couple of things here and there that drag it down just a little bit, but overall, like, fantastic experience. Yeah, overall, it's like whether it's the buttons or there's like some slight stuff with the story, and some of the technical stuff. All of that, I think, was just enough to like knock it down a little bit. But yeah, 9 overall, and I'm like really happy that I'm able to play it a new Halo and say that was a 9 out of 10 experience. I don't say that about a lot of games. I know I said that last week about Forgotten City, but I don't say that about a lot of games.
No.
Yeah,
it's very good.
It's amazing, man. I totally recommend it. It's like it's been a long time since I've finished a game and have immediately been like, I want to play that again. I finished it and I was like, I want to play this again. And it dumps you in the open world after, so you can you can pick up your stuff, and continue to play around. But I wanted to play through it again just for the story. The story's really good and I really enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it'll definitely be really fun to revisit as co-op on Legendary and actually do like old school like Halo skull hunting and stuff like that. That'll be really fun.
I found one.
I haven't found any yet.
I think
zilch.
I think there's one quite near what you were describing where you were before. That's the only one I found.
God, that's gonna eat me alive now.
Yeah. But
do they come up on your little pulse?
I think they do. They're also quite loud.
Yeah.
They make like a weird like screaming noise when you get near them.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. I generally thought the use of audio was really good actually for collectibles. Like the recordings and stuff and the Spartan cores. Everything like makes a distinct noise.
And just like enemy audio as well. Like the enemies just like talk to you and actually like fucking throw threats at you and shit like that. And then when you die, they're like, he's a fucking pussy. And you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, that made me feel really bad.
There's so many lines of dialogue with the enemies. I don't think I've heard the same one twice.
Like seriously. And obviously grunts are cheeky and funny and brutes are always just like, brutes are just so angry. They're just so angry.
Angry monkey.
But yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, the use of audio is just it's really good in that game.
Absolutely. Great. Well, I think that's maybe this will be a good point. I think to sort of tie in sort of our other bits and bobs about Halo, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to kind of reflect, because I know a lot of people have said it before, but now that I've said it, we've both played it, reviews are out, yada yada yada. Thinking about what a 2020 release would have looked like, and you can see here from the Jason Schreier article, which we did touch on a bit last week, that one early plan was to release the multiplayer in 2019 and the campaign in 2020, and I mean, it's really hard because as an outsider, like, we know that the article said that at one point there were like 4 different teams working on 4 different visions of the game, because there was just like difficulty in knowing which direction to take a couple of things, and that they had a lot of contractors in, and Microsoft had this weird thing where they can only keep contractors up to 18 months. So like half the staff would spend like 18 months there getting familiar with the tools and the knowledge and suiting up and everything. And then they'd just be let go, and somebody else would have to come in on a new to learn the new engine and everything. You can see here that they were considering switching to Unreal at some point, which is just ridiculous, but they didn't. And it makes me. I just wonder where it would have been visible. Obviously, from what the gameplay trailer we saw last year, there was way less detail in like all the environments. And Phil actually had an interview the other day, and he spoke about this, and he was like, I think we should have just maybe been honest with ourselves and realised that this wasn't the best showing it could have been, which I thought was really like humble, because that's not an easy thing to say, especially when you got that whole team under you, to try and word it without throwing them under the bus, sort of thing. So I just wonder where it would have shown. Like, I wonder, we know, like we said last week, 2/3 of the game was cut in the end. Would it have been would the plot have been different? Would it have been drawn out? Would it have been just looked uglier? Would the gameplay still have been as tight? I read a couple of weeks back that apparently the campaign team, I don't know where this happened on the timeline, but the campaign team took a lot of convincing to put the grappling hook in to the open world.
Really?
Yeah, and I just, it just makes me think
wow.
I really liked the grapple. No, I love the grapple actually in the campaign, but I think for some people, it's like a make or break. For some people, it's like this has saved the open world for me. But I don't think this would have been fun without the grappling hook and how well it fits and how well it feels and interacts with the sandbox and everything. I wouldn't go that far personally, but for some people, and it's just like, fucking hell, if you imagine if they released this in 2020 and it didn't have that, and it was just like, this could have been like a mid-70s game or like or maybe low 80s,
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know.
But I think it would have been, obviously, that's the reason why it's delayed. It would have been substantially worse, I think, if they released it when they planned to. Just both in terms of performance, quality, and just design choices as well. I think a lot of these things, it might have been delayed just to discuss design choices and how they thought everything might flow better, rather than just like, oh, we need to actually just fix our game sort of thing. And I kind of agree. I think it actually would have been a pretty poor game, maybe. Well, not poor, but substantially worse. Like you were saying, like I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it sort of mid to high 70s, maybe cracking 80s if it released back then. All in all, I'm glad we had to wait to get the polished package that we did get. So
without doubt, and obviously with Joseph Staten coming onto the game for the final year, clearly there was like a right, boys and girls, we need a vision here. Let's just take what we've got, like trim it down, trim all the fat off, and just polish the shit out of what we've got here. Because it's lean. Mm-hmm. The campaign experience is really lean. And I think it's a testament to how well it's written and performed that by the end of it, I want to play more. And I'm not like, oh, it's over. Like, because I think I'm, I saw some reviews where people felt like the ending was quite abrupt. I really didn't feel that way, like remotely.
Okay.
But, so clearly I think the shortness of it caught people off guard, even if it's still like the longest campaign, Halo campaign. It's just games have changed, since like Bungie Halos, whatever. The expectations are different around these sorts of games. So yeah, clearly I just think that that effort to just take what they've got, really condense it and just polish it up, and it's just miraculous that it came out as well as it did.
I
think, and I think, the wider conversation of this really is to Xbox. It's like, you've got loads of studios now. Give these games the time that they need. The team will eventually put out a good game, and I appreciate you'll be sitting on and burning money while this is happening, but it's that whole thing, isn't it? It's like a bad game. Its release is forever bad, in terms of perception, but a good one is forever good. So it's just because we had that period in the Xbox One generation where stuff was clearly getting rushed out. I think you could make the argument with Sea of Thieves, but it still probably needed a bit longer. I think you make the argument because it's obviously was meant to be like a games as a service that's kind of its model, but it still maybe came out a bit earlier than it could have done. State of Decay,
I think so.
Crackdown, like all of these games, just like, just give them more time. So
yeah,
it's just, by the sounds of it, the only external target that we saw was the 2020 campaign that was pushed back to now. But it sounds like internally this game has been delayed and delayed and delayed. An initial release of 2019, like holy shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that kind of the wider message there. Keep giving teams more time because we will all wait if they come out as well as this.
Yeah, exactly. All works out in the end.
Yeah. So there was there was a trademark. There was a Halo trademark, but I don't really. And I had a picture here, but I've deleted it because I thought it's not really a spoiler, but it's a name, and I just feel like I'll like for you and the audience, really, just I'll keep it out. But there was a trademark for something Halo related by 343 and Microsoft, which presumably sounds like an expansion. We don't know.
Okay.
It's really, really, really mild, but it just makes me think that they have this like perfect kind of template now for like future expansions, and it just makes me think about how they'll do it. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I know it's hard to say because you're only so far into the story, but from your perspective, how do you think that they'll handle the like? Will they take like an episodic approach in that it's like 2 to 3 hour chunks every 6 months, or do you think we'll get bigger things every year? Like, I mean, what do you think? Or every 2 years?
I
Like,
mean,
what are we looking at?
I'd like to think that they could take a very similar approach to something like Destiny, where it's like once a year or longer sort of thing. I don't know if Destiny do it exactly once a year, like a big expansion, or if they spend longer, but around that sort of time area, every 1 to 2 years, and then they just give you a chunk. This chunk has story missions, a new threat, something that's changing the world, the ring, and how it acts, that sort of thing, and potentially a new biome, just a new section, right? And then they just give that to you and just basically just say go crazy in it, sort of thing. And then I think it will just be like you're just done. You beat that threat, it's done. You get new equipment, all that sort of thing, and that in itself is like the story. Just start, middle, finish. And then you'll move on to another expansion a year later, all that sort of thing. I don't think. I mean, I think an episodic approach will work as well, but I just don't. I don't see it. I see it more as they'll just work on a nice chunk of story and a new threat and a new area, and then just give us that to play around in. And then start working on the next one. I think that's the more likely scenario, personally.
Yeah, I guess it's easy to envision an episodic approach from a storytelling perspective, but it's a bit harder to envision it from a gameplay perspective because like they've established that they're going to go for this open world type, this condensed open world type formula, and it's like it would be weird if they wrote like how are they going to do a small episodic chunk but a new chunk of ring, like that just doesn't it seems pointless unless that, like you said, unless it's like now we're going to a new biome, or like now we're exploring a new part, or even we're going off ring, for part of this, for a more traditional like Halo experience for this expansion, something like that. So I guess it'll be interesting to see how they work that in, because like I'm having now finished it, what I'm wanting to get more of is more story. As fun as the campaign was, from a gameplay perspective, I want more Chief. I want more of like these characters. So like, I just hope they don't. I guess my worry is, how we kind of spoke about the Ubisoft thing with this, which I didn't feel like it was, by the way. The fact that it's like condensed and lean, I didn't feel like it felt like a go round and check boxes kind of thing at all. My worry is that if they are going to do these regular expansions, they'll have to lean into that to pad out. If they can't create a whole new ring and polish it and make it as good as the current Zeta is, then it's going to be like just filled with outposts and like here's 3 missions and that's it. So
yeah. Well, I think I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for a new ring for every expansion or something. I think that's kind of crazy.
No, sorry. What I mean is versus what we already have. Yeah.
But like, I do think it will just be, a diluted version of what we got, right? Maybe the expansion's like 20 quid or something like that. 1999, 25 pounds, something like that. And yeah, it just offers you 5-6 campaign missions, something cool, a new thread to run along, a new threat to defeat. That got pulled over because of everything that was happening or something, and maybe they want control of the ring because the Banished couldn't do it, and maybe they think they can do it. Just something like that. Or I don't know what you did awoken something on the ring. There was like a forerunner thing sleeping there, or I don't know. You can take it in so many different directions. And I think it would just work best with just a small, like 6 to 8 hour little campaign bit, and then, like you said, just I don't think there's anything wrong with fleshing out with more outposts and more activities. They can introduce new activities too. It doesn't just have to be the same ones. Copy and pasted just for something to do. They can introduce something new and something unique to that biome or that section of the ring or that expansion. And I think that's the best way to do it, personally. And I think that's the only way I can kind of see it being done, personally.
And I mean, like, you're absolutely right. Like, it's like the ending of the game implies that there's like it's a cliffhanger, so and that's so, like, there definitely will be more. It's just it's the question of sort of how they're going to do it. And I hope they take the time, because they it's a game that has multiplayer. I think people aren't going to be starving for new Halo content. But yeah, I think those are some pretty good ideas. Cool. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about that. Maybe they'll give us a bit of a roadmap or something. But we'll have to wait and see. Excellent. Okay, so there was. I think it's probably best that we do this now before we move on to the Game Awards. But yesterday there was an update on the on a multiplayer update coming on Tuesday. I can't remember. Did I speak to you about this? I can't remember. That
yes,
yeah, that they're adding. So the initial plan was to add Fiesta, SWAT, and
free for all
before Christmas, and then they said a Slayer playlist is going to come afterwards. They have been taking this really good approach of under-promising and over-delivering, and they've done that again here. And they've said,
always what you should do.
We're going to add all 4. We've managed to do it. Get it all baked into the UI, get it all working this week, which is great news. And this is going to come alongside some adjustments performance-wise, presumably some balance changes as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if they've ended up prioritizing this over any balance changes, which is fine. There's absolutely nothing game breaking at the moment.
No.
So if they need to do that, if they
need
to do that to quell the community, then that's fine. if this is what will stop the death threats, that's fine.
There's nothing dire in terms of balance changing. Like, there's some stuff they're all just nice to haves, right? Nothing is so dire that it needs sorting immediately. So yeah, I'd rather have more playlists, to be honest.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're really lucky, we'll have all these playlists. I know that they said that there's a couple of challenge changes as well. They're removing, again, some of the harder ones. I'm curious if they'll remove the playlist-specific ones, because that's obviously remains a big pain point for a lot of people. And they haven't really addressed segregated. Well, I mean, they did briefly speak about it. Actually, I'm lying. Of taking the quick play playlist and making an oddball, capture the flag, a strongholds. They said that they don't want those game modes to die. So I think if they took out the game mode specific challenges, I think that would eradicate the problem. So they have said they are going to remove some challenges, some of the harder ones. I don't know if that'll include that or not. And they also said that they're adding a new type of challenge, which is like a performance-based one. So presumably they're experimenting with a performance-based XP system that the community has been asking for. I think they said it will be done on player score. So I assume the challenge will be earn 10,000 player score, or 50,000 player score, and you'll have to work towards that in a certain way. So again, another really nice band-aid in the meantime. I think that works quite well. So that sounds good to me. Are there any of these modes in particular that you're going to play?
SWAT. I really like SWAT. I've always liked SWAT in previous Halos, so I'll be quite excited to give that a go. And Fiesta's always a good laugh. I'm sure I'll hop into that. Like,
palate cleanser.
I don't have a problem with it. Remove Spanker, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
Free for all, I don't know, man. Like, the idea of it sounds fun, but I can just picture really jank spawns and dying from behind, and just the radar really triggering me specifically for that game mode. Right. I don't know. Is it just me? Do you have those sort of concerns?
Not really.
I feel like I have spawn location concerns for that game mode.
I don't know. I generally don't. I generally don't have an issue with the spawns. I don't know.
No, but the maps are small and they're designed for, like, you spawn here, they spawn here, and it flips, sort of thing. But in free for all, it's just scrambled. That's not how that works. And because the maps are quite condensed, I think there might be some issues there. But
I don't know how many people there'll be in it. Maybe that'll. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it'll be like 8 or 6. To give it a bit more breathing room. So I don't know.
I mean, you'd like to think it's 8, right? Just by default, but yeah, I think 6 might be a bit healthier, but I think it's safe to assume it's going to be 8.
I think 8 would be too much. Like, 'cause if you just think about how close you are in proximity to, like, your team plus the enemies in 4v4, there's always someone right next to you, and I don't know. I think that would be too much.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm sure they've
you'll never. All your fights will just be like trades or someone nicking your kill, basically, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You'd never just be able to kill someone and recharge your shields. You'd always have someone else vulturing in with 8 players on those maps. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm to be honest, I have all of them. Free for all is probably the one I'm most excited for. It's something I'll play.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's probably the one I would play when I'm waiting for someone to come on, or waiting for someone to finish their game. It's the thing I would go for to solo queue.
Yeah.
So that's probably why. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That all sounds good. Brilliant. Okay. So as the final Halo thing this week, Halo did end up winning the Player's Voice Award, which is obviously really nice. And it won by a landslide. The next closest was It Takes Two, and it was like 25% down. I think Halo had like 30-something% by itself, and there were 5 candidates. So that was
nice.
That was nice. And sort of, I guess, segueing off from that is the rest of the Game Awards. And you were obviously incapacitated. You were out of action.
I was absolutely dead on the Game Awards. Like, I was just not in the realm of the living. So I did plan on staying up and watching it. And this guy was very hopeful, kept messaging me like, "How you doing? We're still watching the Game Awards if you're up for it." Meanwhile, I literally couldn't stare at a screen for more than 2 seconds to even reply to you.
You were eating your toast in the
dark.
dark.
Just fucking stop. Yeah, I was literally eating toast in a pitch black room. So yeah, I didn't get to watch this, but it sounded pretty cool.
Yeah.
Kind of wish I could have watched it.
It was cool. It was quite cool. I know that there's been a lot of criticism for how long it went on for, and like the amount.
Yeah, it was
ads.
A long one. Yeah.
But I think that's fine. We can get into that. But I just want to. I need to go and just grab my charger. For some reason, it's like vanished from this room. So so I need to grab it. Otherwise, I'm gonna run out of battery. So I'll just turn my screen off. But if you want to, it's up to you. I've got the link there. You can just start going through some of their awards if you like.
Or I haven't opened it.
That's right. I've got some of them in text in the notes.
Yeah, we'll just do a card, dude. I'm not ready.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. We will be right back.
All right. Plus, Google does this weird thing where it doesn't let you click on links. You have to right click and open it. Yeah, I can't just click on the link. I don't like that. Google Docs. Or like Google Flops. Plus the link's broken. Skibbity-bitty, skibbity-bitty, skibbity-danger.
Okay.
So I said shit ahead, not slit ahead.
That's a weird looking game, dude. Okay then. So, in terms of the Game Awards, so it started at 12:30 our time. So I was up till like 4 a.m. watching this. It went on for 3 hours. But they usually go on for quite a lot, so I don't know what people were expecting, but and there were a lot of ads. It's just funny because sometimes they like do like a proper thing for like a single award. They're like, and the best nominated for best, like director is and there's like a bit of tension. The build up, yay, guy comes out, has a speech. Other ones, they're like, best indie wins this, best audio design wins this, and they just speed through like 5. It's like, what's going on here?
Just throwing the trophies.
Yeah.
You get this one, you get that one, fucking whatever.
So I think the pacing of the show is a bit weird in that sense, but I'm glad that we have this. I'm glad that this is a thing that like it is recognised. So big props to Jeff Keighley for continuing to organise and do this.
Yeah.
So, let's start from the top in terms of the awards. Obviously, I've typed in the notes here just like a condensed like stuff that I thought was interesting, but that's not all of them. So, Game of the Year, It Takes Two won. And that's fine with me, I suppose. I think overall, I'm glad that I'm happy for the game and I'm happy for the team because it's really not a conventional game to win that category, Game of the Year. And I'm glad that there's like a celebration of like co-op games. So I am happy in that regard. I don't think it's a Game of the Year game.
No.
I think it's a lackluster in a couple of areas, but
everyone keeps sucking that game off.
But
because it's like cute.
No, the design is genuinely really good. The design and the gameplay and the sheer variety in like levels and like the gameplay is really good. It is really good, and I'm not going to knock it for that. I just have a bit of a problem with the game dragging on a bit, and the story and characters are kind of really not interesting and a bit annoying. So for a lot of people, that's enough. For it to like win that category, the fact that it's like a co-op only game as well, and you can only play it, and you have you can't like a lot of the puzzles and stuff have to be done with 2 people. So it is genuinely a good game, and it really excels in the gameplay and the puzzle and the design department, and it looks pretty as well. It wouldn't have been my pick. That's all. So I can't be mad. I'm glad it won over some of the other candidates there, so that's that.
True.
Psychonauts 2 got nothing.
Now he's mad.
Nothing. I was fucking pissed out, dude.
Yeah, that is a bit harsh, I think.
It's just it's crazy because I Deathloop got a couple of rewards, and quite right, but from what I've heard, like how people have spoke about it, some people are like really impressed with it from a design point, and it won best direction, which I think sounds about right, but then it also won best art direction, and I'm like, it's hard to get a sense of art direction from just looking at the game and not actually playing it, but I don't know, I'm just a bit confused how it ended up getting out outvoting Psychonauts 2, because the art direction in Psychonauts 2, it's not a looker, Psychonauts 2. It looks good, but it's not. But the direction of the art is fantastic.
Exactly.
And how the levels intertwine with the narrative, and I'm really confused. I'm puzzled at why that happened, but that's what it is.
Yeah, that is a bit strange. As soon as I saw one art direction, I was literally just like, really? I was like, I'm sure it's great, but like, how did Psychonauts come out with nothing, and that comes out with art direction? Like that's a bit weird. Like if it's gonna win anything, Psychonauts would win art direction. Like I feel like that's the category it kind of nailed, right?
I thought so as well.
But hey ho.
There's literally a whole level where you're playing in Teeth, and there's a whole level where you're playing in like a hair world. Like it's so, but nonetheless, I'm happy for Arcane. As I've said on the show a few times, I'm a massive Arcane fan, so I'm glad that I think this is like the first time they've actually like won stuff at the Game Awards. So I am glad that there is some recognition that they're getting there. I think they've been nominated before, but I don't think they've actually. Maybe Prey did win some stuff. I can't remember. But
I feel like Prey won some stuff.
Yeah, maybe it did win. Like
it definitely got like awards for its DLC. I know that much, but I don't know about base game.
Maybe. Yeah. So yeah, nonetheless, I am happy for that. Death's Door got robbed in the indie department. Kena won, which was obviously very pretty, but just a bit confusing because it didn't review nearly as well as Death's Door. I think it came out at 81 or something, whereas Death's Door was like an 89 or 90. So fuck happened there.
I guess Kino is just a bit more like experimental in its genre. It wasn't just like a slashy platformer like Death's Door is. Like Death's Door did it very well, but didn't necessarily come up with anything too new and groundbreaking. Like Kino was kind of like its own thing, I guess.
I guess
a bit more so. I'm just trying to make sense of it, dude, so you don't blow up.
I guess
you're like a ticking time bomb.
I'll have to play it eventually when it does come out, because this is a timed exclusive, so it'll come out on other consoles eventually. Which, by the way, is really funny because those games came out at a similar time on their respective platforms: the Death's Door on Xbox and Kena on PlayStation. Death's Door's it's coming out, and I think it's out this month on other platforms. Kena won't be out.
Yeah, it's definitely out
for like a year.
Yeah, I know Death's Door is definitely out on Switch. I'm assuming it's probably out on PlayStation if that's the case. So yeah.
Pretty sure it is. Our boys over at Playground did win something. They got the Pity Award for audio design, which game sounds great. But it still baffles me that game wasn't a Game of the Year contender. And if you weren't even going to give Psychonauts 2 anything, at least put Forza in there. So it's just like there was some real snubbing that went on this year. Age of Empires won Best Sim / Strat in that category because that's one category, Best Simulation / Strategy Game.
Okay, how many contenders was it against?
There's 5. It's always 5.
Jurassic,
or 5 total,
I guess.
Yeah,
I can't even think of 5 sim strat games that came out.
No,
this year.
Lawn Mowing Simulator might have come out too late. I don't know.
I love their lawn mowing.
So that's good. And whoever, I can't remember the name of the voice actor, but the voice actor that did Lady Dimitrescu in Resident Evil Village won Best Voice Actor. Which
nice.
I don't think I had really much of a stake in the voice actors. I think both of the actors from Deathloop got nominated. I can't remember who else though.
Her name was Maggie Robertson.
Oh right, cool.
Who did Lady Dimitrescu? Yeah, she did a good job. I played the game. It was pretty good. I said it's a bit weird that they didn't have Romanian accents, but whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Literally just all American.
Yeah, they do that sometimes, don't they? Or sometimes they do a American accent, but with a different accent, like an American but with a Romanian accent. And it's like, what?
Yeah. To be honest, I'd rather them just drive home and do their best performance as their American.
Yeah.
Rather than do that, because otherwise you just butchers it. It's just lean into one heavily. Just don't do a weird hybrid.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So overall, it was a pretty good showing for Xbox Game Studios in total. I thought it'd be just a little bit better with Psychonauts getting something for how celebrated it was. But Forza Horizon 5 did win 3 awards in total. I said audio design, but they did obviously win the best sports racing game, and they won a different category as well, which was innovation and accessibility. which was good. The real surprise, because best narrative, I thought this is it. Psychonauts 2. Here we go. Razzaquatto. We're gonna do it. And Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And I think this was like as salty as I am, I'm glad that this game has done well because when it came out, everybody was also obviously like a bit surprised. Everybody was like, "Oh, actually, this is quite good." And all the reviews I've read, like people have been saying that it's actually a surprisingly good game. So I'm not too mad that game won this category. I am sad that Psychonauts 2 didn't get it, especially again given the critical reception is quite a bit worse. Again, like I think Guardians of the Galaxy is like an 81. Well, Psychonauts 2 is like an 89. But nonetheless, I'm not too mad about it.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, just seething, just slightly seething. I'm kind of happy for it. They did bounce back off a pretty rough launch with Avengers, and everyone kind of thought this would be pretty doo-doo as well.
Yeah.
And the game surprised everyone, quite well. And I heard it did excel in its characters and its sort of storytelling and stuff like that was actually quite good. And drove home what the movies kind of laid the foundation for. So stayed quite true to its direction. So fair enough, I guess.
Yeah. And as I'm sure you're not surprised, the most anticipated game category went to Elden Ring again for the second year running. Just cheating at this point, just keep delaying it to keep getting that award.
Yeah, exactly.
But Jesus, the list of games in that category: Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild sequel, and Starfield. Like, holy shit!
Yeah, it's mental. It's so stacked. It's unreal.
That reminds me of our fantasy critic. We'll have to do another one of them. Where
next year's going to be bonkers.
Yeah, there was 8 of us in the one that we sorted out this year, and I think me and Tim came 3rd and 4th respectively. Halo did me good. I had Halo at the end of the year. I was hoping it would get me a good score, and it would have bumped me up to 2nd, but one of our piece of shit friends, ex-friend, had picked Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. I didn't even know what that was. I think I knew 14 was the MMO. But it was like an expansion, and I swear to God I'd banned expansions, but nobody else had picked an expansion. Anyway, the game got like 94. I don't even know like how many reviews that's based on. I'm gonna have a look. Little shit.
God's sake. Do this off podcast. I'm kidding.
So this guy like rocketed like it was like 28 points. He like rocketed straight to first place. I'm kind of mad about it because he snatched it last year, if you remember, like at the very end of the year.
Okay.
I can't remember.
He won it 2 years in a row. What?
Yeah, he won last year as well.
Absolute snake.
By like 0.5 of a point with some weird shit. I can't remember, but as we said, most of the placement this year was pretty much dictated by how many of your games actually released.
Yeah. I think we probably would have beat him if a couple or one of our games actually did release that we picked. I mean, I feel like if Elden Ring released this year, I probably would have shot up to top 2, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I was just missing Hollow Knight Silk Song, which would have been a shoo-in for some good points, but unfortunately we never heard from that.
You really love Hollow Knight, don't you?
I do, yeah. Hollow Knight was wicked. Wasn't expecting to. And can I just say, fuck Mario Golf. That game screwed me over so hard,
mate. When you picked that, we were all just like, because I think we were all like in the Xbox party, just like chilling while we were picking our games and stuff. And we were literally just like, oh, nice pick. That's a shoe-in for some points. Like Mario always does well. And we looked at the previous golf games. And we're like, yeah. And then obviously we knew about it. We're like, look how many game modes it's got. Look how many characters it's got. We're like, easy. absolutely shafted you. What do you get, like 70 or something?
It's 71.
They get you minus points.
71, so not minus, but 1 point. It's just like, oh my god.
So I don't think I've ever seen a Mario game get below 80.
No.
Like, it's so rare.
I just can't believe it. Jesus.
It's fucking hilarious, dude.
And actually, just having a little look here, that Final Fantasy Endwalker it's only based on 7 reviews.
Oof. I mean, we know that he didn't really win. Let's be honest. He won, but we've made him feel like he hasn't.
If we just treat him like an outsider.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so
I
funny.
can't remember what my best game was this year.
Yours was Deathloop, I think.
Probably. It's either Deathloop or Rise, I think. They both did pretty well.
I think they got exactly the same score,
Yeah, Monster Hunter Rise.
Settled on 88. 2 very solid.
Which is always a safe bet. Yeah, it's always a safe bet these days. Getting Monster Hunter. I mean, you wouldn't have thought. I mean, we've been playing Monster Hunter since we were fucking little babies. You wouldn't have thought ever, from a Western audience standpoint, that Monster Hunter would be a safe bet for some high scores, would you? But this is the day and age we live in now. It's a fucking huge IP now.
Yeah.
It's crazy how far it's come.
Really is. Fucking hell. We had one friend who ended the year on -7. So useless.
It's the best.
So useless.
Yeah, one of our friends as well literally just picked like his games, and like 80% of them just didn't release. He only had like one release, and he still beat the guy who was like -7 because he picked what really shafted him was Biomutant and Battlefield, wasn't it? Which Battlefield we agreed was harsh. Like most of the time, that's quite a safe bet to at least bag you a couple points, or not minus. Let's be real. But Biomutant was a pretty stupid pick. Like the game was a dark horse at best. Like if it excelled, everyone would have been surprised. If it didn't, everyone would have just been okay with it.
Yeah,
as one of those games.
I think it did look quite good. I think you could tell there were some rough edges, but I don't think I would have looked at it and thought this was getting much higher than an 8.
Yeah,
and it's a new IP. Like it's a gamble to pick a new IP. I think.
I've heard some people do quite like it. Like the general foundation of the game is pretty good. It was just a bit jank, and it was just made by a bit of an unknown studio and stuff like that. So with a bit of polish and some updates, might be a pretty good game at some point to pick up in a sale. A little bit of fun.
Yeah, if they do it by Mutant 2, I'm sure it'll be improved on massively.
Yeah.
Fantasy Critic. Yeah, that would be a weird one next year.
Yeah. It is good fun though. I do for anyone listening and you're into games and you're like that sort of, you've always been like, I want to do fantasy football but games. Yeah, check out Fantasy Critic because it is good fun. And that's basically what it is. You pick games, you get points, you battle your friends. Done. Yeah, it's good fun.
It is. No, it is good. It is good. Lovely. Okay, so next up, it's really beyond sort of the awards. It's sort of the announcements that we had during the Game Awards, and obviously we started with Hellblade 2 was right at the beginning, and Jeff like really sold it as he was like, "What you're about to see is entirely gameplay," and then obviously cuts to Ninja Theory, and I was like rubbing my hands together.
Just drops bug snacks too.
Yeah, let's go Knack 3. So obviously you watched this afterwards because you were MIA, and this. I mean, it looks unbelievable. I mean,
it looks fucking like. I mean, I haven't played Hellblade 1. I don't consider myself a fan, but looking at it from a visual standpoint, watching that trailer, that was fucking ridiculous. It was absolutely. It's almost criminal. I feel like I should lock these. They're doing something illegal. Something.
It's the reason they get, because I mean Hellblade 1 did look very very good. But the reason they get such good visuals is because they scan everything in.
I watched that trailer. Yeah, of them going to all the locations and stuff like that, and scanning in all the objects and the environments and stuff like that. Yeah,
Absolutely. So,
It's
I
cool,
mean,
man.
if you haven't seen it yet, I mean, get it on your 4K TV and watch it because it looks absolutely unbelievable. I think there was some people who thought, and the premise is really interesting as well because it's like one step further. Like a lot of the themes from Hellblade 1 are clearly carrying over there, but there's like other people in this, which isn't really a thing. You're very much by yourself in Hellblade 1. But some people were irritated by the fact that it didn't really show combat. Like there was very much like a scripted sequence, wasn't it? You know, you like sort of walk down the quay, came back, turn around, you'd aim these spears by the looks of it, and then throw them. But I mean, I guess that's something they'll say for later as well. We didn't get a release date, so I reckon this is still up in the air if it even makes 2022.
Yeah.
So this very much might be a 2023 thing, in which case we might see combat at next year's Video Game Awards. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I remain really, really excited for that game. It looks absolutely ridiculous, and it's funny actually because when I was reading like some of the Reddit comments, it's just so stupid because this is like this is going to be like the premiere like third person action adventure. Like here's your God of War game, you know, your slow walk and talk with lots of scripted sequences. With third-person combat kind of game, and in the comments, people were like, "Oh, this isn't really gameplay, is it? Like, I'd like to see more." And it's like, you just can't win, can you? Because like people have been asking for Microsoft to make a game like this for like 5, 6, 7 years now, and then like it finally comes out. It's not even in the same league as other games in terms of like fidelity. Like it's in a league of its own, and people are like, it's not really what I want, is it? It's just like,
bit boring.
Can't wait.
Wanted to watch a movie or go to the cinema.
Yeah, literally.
Cheaper too.
Crazy. Yeah, not with Games Pass though. Get Games Pass now, starting £1 a month for 3 months. The first time offer.
Being back, you're speaking really fast. You're like a car salesman.
Thank you. In another life. So that was Hellblade 2. Looks phenomenal. Still want to see more. I'm loving how the game's shaping up. Still one of my most anticipated. Looks absolutely phenomenal. That's really hard to say. Out of nowhere, we had Alan Wake 2 as well.
That is a surprise. Not the biggest surprise on the list when you said it to me, but I was very surprised. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing the whole remake thing was a little test of waters to how loyal the fan base still is.
Yeah, it seems to be
how much they still like it, and how new people will. Sorry, I think it's a bug. How new people will receive the game, and obviously it obviously did quite well. So they were just like, let's make a sequel. Let's do it. And I'm glad because I liked Alan Wake 1, and it's definitely something I never would have thought we'd get a sequel. So I'm kind of happy.
I guess they were probably testing the waters in terms of popularity on PlayStation as well, because Alan Wake Remastered was the first time the series came to other consoles. So that was nice. I guess then they must have greenlit it, and they said that this one is their first attempt at survival horror for Remedy. So it's not purely like I don't know what you'd call it, like action horror. I guess it's more survival horror, which is quite an interesting turn, I think, for the franchise. So I think that's quite a cool.
I'm guessing no release date, no gameplay. It's literally it's so early. Like you said, it's probably just got greenlit. Like it's probably like beginning of this year, maybe, or something.
Yeah, I've got no idea. I don't think there was a date. But yeah, there was no game. Yeah, it was just a CGI trailer, which was it was good. It was quite good, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Next up, Wonder Woman by Monolith Studios. Those who don't know, Monolith are the team that made the Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor Lord of the Ring games. They've said in the specs for sort of the game that there's going to be a Nemesis system, which is great. If I remember, actually, I think Warner Bros. Did they patent this? I can't remember.
I think they did.
We had a conversation about this, didn't we? Yeah, they patented it, which is a bit of a shame because it's a really cool system, but I don't know how well it works in a Wonder Woman universe versus a Lord of the Rings universe. Nonetheless, I'm sure they've got the wrinkles sorted, but this was. I kind of missed this trailer. I just saw the announcement at the end, but from what I could tell, it was just like a nothing like CGI teaser trailer, you know. I actually think this is really cool. I would never have been interested in the Wonder Woman character, but I really liked the movie, the one from a couple of years ago. I thought it was really good. It's probably my favorite.
The
DC
first
movie.
one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one.
The set if you don't,
oh, okay.
Just don't.
Okay.
Just don't ever watch it.
Okay.
It's fucking awful, dude.
Oh no.
Seriously bad. And I know you and Beth are sort of like movie buffs. I think it actually might make you vom.
Okay, yeah, fine. Well, I really like the first one. Sorry, I really like the only one. The only Wonder Woman movie that's been released.
Bingo.
I think that there's got a lot of potential here. I'm a really big fan of this. The weird thing about this was that there was no console announced, and that's weird. Usually at the end of these games, it pops up PlayStation symbol, Xbox symbol, Steam, Stadia. None of that.
Yeah. Interesting.
Makes me think there's bargaining going on at the moment. Someone wants exclusivity on this game, which isn't too surprising.
It's true.
So we'll have to see, but it wouldn't surprise. You know, we had this whole conversation about Xbox trying to do DC while Sony tries to lock down Marvel stuff. So it went to, and we know Xbox are close to Warner Bros. Monolith is a Warner Bros. Studio. So it would surprise me.
I'd be game for that. Yeah, I think there's so much potential in oh god, good stretch. There's so much potential in DC games, just as much as Marvel.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it'd be really cool, and I think this has potential too. I mean the whole like Nemesis system. Again, it worked really well because it was like armies of orcs and commanders and stuff like that. Wonder Woman kind of just fights bad guys. Like
unless it's a different faction, it might just be like a specific faction from the comics that, you know.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Nonetheless,
I mean, it depends where they set it, right?
We both love the system. The system in and of itself is really good. The Nemesis system, it is very, very good.
Yeah.
So yeah. Cool. Next up, we had out of nowhere a Telltale game. Did they not get shut down or something? I can't remember. The Expanse. They're doing an Expanse game, which is like a TV show, and it's like a Netflix series. Which I've heard good things about.
It's like a space in it.
I think there's space in it. Yeah, I think there's
sci-fi. I think.
Yeah. So I mean, from what I can tell, judging by the community reaction, there was quite a bit of excitement for this. And it was just kind of a bit of a surprise because the Telltale, as I say, I thought they had kind of gone under. Because they did all of the Wolf Among Us and then Game of Thrones and then Guardians of the Galaxy. They did so fucking much. Yeah.
I don't think they went under. I don't know. But yeah, I do remember something in the news about that. But I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, it closed in October 2018 after filing for bankruptcy protection. So, I mean, what's happened here? I don't know.
No idea.
Don't know how they've managed.
They're back.
They're back, I guess. Like, what the fuck? I can't even see anything. Whatever. So yeah, it's it's just an interesting thing. I was like, when I saw Telltale pop up, I was like, this is for sure going to be a Marvel property, or it's going to be like Wolf Among Us because they're like a safe property for them to like get back in. And I mean, I was kind of right. The Expanse, I guess, is kind of like it's blending from a property rather than their own thing. Just a bit of a peculiar one, but yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
You still excited for a Gollum game?
No.
Why not?
Because it's fucking Gollum. I don't want to play as fucking Gollum. I don't want to play as some soiled loincloth wearing gremlin. Just like running through dank caves, catching fish and hissing at people. I don't want to do that. I want my Lord of the Rings universe experience to be a little bit more epic than that.
Wow.
Yeah, I really just shat on that whole game, didn't I?
It's just weird because like they need to sell. Gollum is an interesting character. It's just you need to sell me on how this is going to be an interesting game to play and not watch. Like, why could this not have been a TV show or like a short movie
Or a
about
Telltale?
Gollum? Or a Telltale?
Work well as a Telltale.
What's the gameplay?
Yeah, what's my weapon of choice? Rock A and Rock B.
Bite
Rock
finger
B's
off.
more pointy. Rock A's more blunt damage. Like, I don't understand.
Show gremlin cock.
Jesus, Day. That felt like an off podcast joke, but but apparently it's in. You got a glimpse of our actual humour.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I've had a few late nights.
It's fun.
Yeah, man. I don't know. There's something. I'm rooting for this game, but I'm just confused. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know how they're going to make it interesting because, I mean, I think they've said it's like a stealth game, so I guess you're just like a stealth narrative, so you're just going to be creeping up behind orcs and fucking snapping their necks or biting on their necks, and that's...
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there going to be RPG elements? Like, what? Like, by the end of it, is Gollum going to be, like, standing upright with, like, a suit of armor and a sword and a shield? Like, how does this work?
I don't just snap necks anymore. Now I summon fucking ring wraith spirits that do my bidding. Celebrimbor, get me a fish.
Oh, God.
That one got you. But yeah, I do kind of, while you recover, I do kind of agree. I just don't know where this game's direction is going. I don't know what kind of deep story like you could also do around Gollum that we don't already know about him and the corruption of the ring or whatever. Like, well, we're just gonna see him slowly molding away and turning into what he is. It's not really that exciting.
When does it take place? I don't think it's canon. It's probably not.
Yeah, I can't imagine it being canon. Gollum only does one thing.
Yeah,
like, like if it's canon, it's just we've seen it before and it's not going to be exciting.
He's a hobbit, dude. Maybe I bet there's a whole fucking like a morality system or some shit because he has like a split personality, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah. They'll definitely dive into that side of things, I'm sure.
Because he's a hobbit.
But it's just, I don't know. It's just not that exciting, and I feel like it's been in development for so long. Yeah. It's a Gollum game. What's happening here?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But hey, I don't want to shit on the devs any more than I already have in this 5 to 10 minute segment.
God.
It could be fine, and it could be a bit of fun. But I can't imagine this being a pretty good game. Like, I can just see it being so average at best, personally. And you say Gollum's an interesting character. I just don't think he is, but he's interesting from a cinematic perspective and the story that we see him in. I just don't think from a gameplay perspective. I just don't think he transitions into a video game character that well, personally. Like someone like Legolas, Aragorn, or Celebrimbor, and that guy you play, I forgot his name now. In the Talion, they're cool, they're epic, they're warriors, they've got powers, and they do cool shit. I don't know, Gollum taking out an orc camp.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not every game needs to be a power fantasy, but like I'm definitely with you.
Yeah.
I don't know how that translates into gameplay. So yeah, it's a wait and see kind of thing because there's not much. We haven't seen anything, or there hasn't really been much indication as to what the gameplay is going to look like, other than saying that it's like stealth. So yeah, whatever. We'll just have to see. But it's in concept. I don't think there's anybody really excited about this. So whatever. Hope they prove me wrong. Next up, Star Wars Eclipse, new Star Wars game. The trailer for this was really good. It was like a CGI trailer. It was a really good trailer. Now, arguably, the downside to this is that it's made by Quantic Dream. Not only is the director of Quantic Dream, David Cage, a level 3 fuckhead, their games are like interactive dramas, which is fine. I have enjoyed an interactive drama before in my time, but I guess I was hoping it wouldn't be. So yeah. And especially because on the Xbox side, Knights of the Old Republic is something that PlayStation have locked down for a year. So that's going to come out when we see gameplay for that. Like, it's going to look gorgeous. It's going to look good, So, yeah, whatever. There are people out there who are excited for this. To be honest, it's not really my thing. Quantic Dream, just in case you didn't know, did games like Detroit Become Human on PlayStation. They did Beyond Two Souls, and they did Heavy Rain.
Yeah. I think the same people who did Detroit did Heavy Rain, so yeah.
Yes, it's these guys, Quantic Dream. So, I think it's an exciting announcement for most people, but it's not really doing anything for me at this point in time, to be honest. I think a lot of Star Wars... I mean, I know a lot of Star Wars is about the characters, but a lot of it is about like the combat and the fun. So, I mean, it's kind of like the inverse of what we just said about Gollum. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Crossfire got a release date of February 2022. Which is obviously an Xbox exclusive at this time. Could not give a shit about that multiplayer. However, Remedy have been doing the single player, and from what I keep seeing about it,
looks good.
It looks fun. It looks good. It looks genuinely good. They consistently do good stories, Remedy. So I'll be keeping an eye on it. If it reviews well, it'll be on Games Pass. I will. I'll probably give it a play. It looks fun, even if it does look like standard Western military shooter with bits and bobs, but I'm sure it'll be written well because it's Remedy and that's what Remedy do.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Warhammer 40k Space Marine?
I think I did really briefly, but no, not really. It was like the Gears of War take on a Warhammer game, wasn't it?
I was it. I don't know anything about this franchise really.
I'm pretty sure they did the over the shoulder shooter from a Space Marine perspective, very, very Gears of War-esque. And I don't think it did great. I think it did okay. But it was very much when Gears of War was center of attention. And the new shit hot thing, and they were like, oh, let's try and do this for a different IP.
Right.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, I recognise the cover actually. Yeah, he got 76 on Metacritic back in 2011. So yeah, it was around that time.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, apparently,
so it wasn't horrible.
No, yeah, but apparently it's had a bit of a cult following. Like I said, I really am not familiar with this universe outside of the Rat one, outside of Vermintide. But they announced a Space Marine 2, which, from what I understand, there's actually quite a lot of excitement about.
Yeah, I can see that being pretty cool.
Yeah, the trailer was quite cool. There's a bit of like the design is like kind of weird to me. I don't know. It's like the animations or something. It's just a CGI trailer, but the way that they like are killing these dudes is like really weird. Because you know how like when they use chainsaws on the Lancer and Gears, they like proper like force it down and they like split it open. With these, they've got like these swords that have spinning, and they're just like. It's like they're just like slicing through butter. Yeah, it's like what, like, but whatever. It's just it's a really weird nitpick, but it's just something I noticed in the trailer. There was a new announcement of a game called Evil West, and I heard this name and I was like, oh my god, Evil West. And then they started showing gameplay, and I was like, hold the phone. Hold the fucking phone. And it's like Doom meets like shooty God of War. Like, I don't really know how to describe it. Like Doom maybe meets Remnant or something. Like, and it had
Yeah.
CQC like combos as well. He would like uppercut people with his like mechanical fist and like juggle. It's like maybe like a bit of DMC in there as well. It looked kind of good actually.
It does look cool.
That was it really surprised me. I don't know if it got a release date, but the publisher is Focus Home Interactive and the developer is Flying Wild Hogs. I don't know what that means. Polish developer apparently. So yeah, it looked cool though. But I just think it's a really shit name. But it looked cool. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I've just done a quick little Google search on it. It does look cool.
Yeah. The gameplay looked really smooth. Cool. Okay. Next up, we had some gameplay for Plague's Tale Requiem. I don't know if I've spoken about it on the show. I've played through the first one and it was really good. I think I gave it like an 8 or an 8.5 or something. Yeah, definitely would recommend. Really good, really unique, and it looks gorgeous as well. Looks really, really pretty. I know that was 2022. I don't think they gave a date, but 2022. So that looks exciting. Looks like there's been a big up, more of a combat focus in this one. There's like a crossbow and everything, rather than it being mostly stealth.
Okay, interesting.
Finally, Cuphead got a release date for its DLC.
Oh.
The delicious
Damn.
last course. The delicious last course. The delicious last course.
Is it coming with online co-op?
That's a good question, actually. I don't know.
Because I would love to play through that game again if it had online co-op.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever actually added that, because I remember them saying that they would add it. I don't know if they ever did.
They seem to be very slow at making things for that game. I understand why, because everything's like hand-drawn and shit.
There's only 2 of them as well.
Yeah, and there's only 2 people. But that's the reason why this DLC is taking an insane amount of time to actually come out, and online co-op and stuff like that. But there's no reason why Xbox can't just be like, here's a small team to help you develop the online co-op.
Well, but this isn't an Xbox thing anymore. Like, the Cuphead's multiplayer now. Has been for a while.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And the other thing is, they've obviously been very busy with their Netflix series as well. So that's another reason why I think this took so long.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess when you factor all that in, yeah.
I've given it a quick search to see if there is any online co-op, but I'm not really I'm not getting any clear answers, which makes me think no.
I occasionally still give it a quick Google, because I've always had that game installed on my Xbox. I haven't got rid of it once. So every sort of so and so months, I do give it a quick Google, and there's been no update for it. Because that game was fucking excellent.
So good.
I'd love to play that DLC when it comes out. Did the DLC get a release date?
It did, yeah. I can't remember it. I've not put it on my notes.
That's fine while you Google it. Because we sort of like blitzed that game together, like couch co-op in a weekend, and it was fucking great. Like, I love that game so much.
It's brilliant.
And this would be the perfect time with us, potentially not being in the same area, to be able to actually play that online co-op.
Yeah.
Because it's the sort of thing which, yes, I would love to play it, but I would only like to sort of play it with you. So I feel like that's Cuphead, and its best experience is to play it with someone.
You're sweet.
So no, I mean, I said with someone. You're replaceable in this scenario.
That's not what you said, but that's fine.
Play it with my dog.
June 30th was when they said.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so still half a year away. So still cool.
Yeah. You'll be able to play through new levels, cycle new bosses, and use a new character named Miss Chalice. But nothing.
Miss Chalice.
Yeah.
Sounds cute.
Might just have to be an excuse for us to meet up and torture ourselves.
Boo.
Boo, I hate
It is
you
near
too.
our birthdays, to be fair. So we could do.
Oh, that's true. Cool. We also had a Halo TV series trailer, like an actual trailer. There was a teaser last week, and then there was like an actual trailer for it, which looked
Hell yeah.
surprisingly good. Like, it was a big budget. Like, the effects on this were really good, like Hollywood standard, and the costume design was really good as well. Obviously, I can't speak for the story or the plot or anything, because I'm pretty sure that this TV series is non-canon. I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere.
Okay.
Because they're making it's like a chief story, rather than something in the edge of the universe that could be canon. But yeah, it looked surprisingly good in terms of budget and production, like quality. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch it. It's weird that I don't know where we're going to be able to watch it, because Paramount Plus is where it's airing. But do we even have that? Like, I don't know if someone will make a deal to get it for us. I don't know.
Pretty sure you can subscribe to Paramount Plus. Yeah,
can we?
Pretty sure there's an app for it on the Xbox. Yeah,
I
think, or it's just something we might have to just watch on our TV app or a laptop app and just use like a VPN or something. But we'll be able to access it.
Yeah,
okay. Just a question of where. I'm pretty sure Paramount Plus is definitely. I'm pretty sure you can get it in the UK.
Okay, that's good to know. I think that did get a date as well, but I can't remember when it was. I think it was early 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Halo series could be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. They've done decent. I mean, like the transmedia stuff for Halo is generally considered pretty good, from what I understand. Like a lot of the books are considered really good. We had like The Forward Unto Dawn, which was not bad. So
I liked it.
Yeah. I thought it was decent. So yeah, there is that to look forward to, and then it's really sort of the final thing that happened. It happened after the show, but it was the only thing that sort of I feel that was kind of worth noting was Scorn, the game that kind of vanished off the face of the earth after showing us its fleshy innards.
Oh yeah,
and they just did like a CGI trailer with an announcement for October 2022. So
nice. Yeah, we were saying, why didn't they try and aim for October this year? But
yeah,
obviously development. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. They're going for October,
so that's happening. It's just funny that game's going to end up coming out like 8 months after Stalker. Like Stalker, we heard about like quite a bit after Scorn, but
yeah, that is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the video game awards.
That was the video game awards. To be honest, we've rounded out 2 hours here. There's some other little stuff, like PlayStation acquired another studio. They're called Valkyrie Entertainment, and they're like a support studio. But I don't really have anything to add to this other than like it makes sense. Like they're gearing up on like the support side with PC studios and support studios, and I know everybody's chomping at the bit for like Xbox to make another acquisition, but which I mean they'll have to if they want to stay ahead of PlayStation, because PlayStation are they are acquiring these smaller like fringe studios, but it's going to help with their output. That's the whole point, So yeah. And the only other thing was this Matrix Unreal Engine 5 demo. You've probably seen this plastered around the place.
I have seen a glimpse of it. Yeah,
I had a very quick look. I've got it installed. I haven't booted up on my Xbox, but I saw some like adverts for it online, and it does look like very good. But interesting to note, the Coalition like went and helped out with this, obviously, because they're considered like experts with the Unreal Engine, because a lot of them of the team are left over from Epic. So a lot of that team have been working with Unreal Engine and helped develop Unreal Engine and the new engines. So they played a big part in that. So I mean, it gives us an idea of not only what these games are going to look like, but how Coalition are going to leverage this for whatever their next thing is, whether that be Gear 6 or something new. We know they're doing something else new. To see what that sort of looks like.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I have to check it out in its entirety. But yeah, I have heard it's pretty cool.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, that's the show, everyone. I don't know what's going to happen next week, frankly. I can't believe I'm not going to have a reason. I mean, we're going to have like Halo multiplayer stuff to speak about. I don't doubt, but I'm sure that'll be a recurring portion of the show. But I can't believe I don't have any like Halo speculation or anything else to like go by week. Truly,
it's weird.
The end of an era.
It's gonna be a weird week next week.
Yeah, it really is. We might just have to turn up and make Gollum jokes for an hour and then.
I could do that.
And then end it. Awesome. Okay, ladies and gents, thanks for coming today. We will see you next week. Have a good lead up to Christmas. Eat a nice piece of chocolate. Bye-bye.
Bye.